Well, everyone, the time has come. After the most normal, uncontroversial, boring, and forgettable award season, the Oscars are nearly here. I've followed the Academy Awards my whole life, but for the last 5 to 7 years, I've really paid closer attention into what goes into the big night, all the Oscar campaigning and all the build up to it. I really love the Oscars, and it's pretty much my Super Bowl. I've lived through sad moments like La La Land, one of my favorite movies, being announced as Best Picture incorrectly, and plenty of other uncomfortable moments where I kept saying, is this a bit? But more importantly, tons of wholesome moments that I'll never forget. But weirdly enough, it was only last year for the podcast that I decided I would try and predict who is going to win. So today, I want to do just that. My 2025 Oscar hopes and predictions. I'll give you who I want to win and who I think will actually win each category. Before we start, like, subscribe, and please comment your predictions for the Academy Awards. And full disclosure, there were a couple of categories where it was just impossible to see everything, but I'll make my best uneducated guess. And of course, a lot more attention will be paid to the big categories like acting, directing, and of course Best Picture. But in this video, I will give you my hopes and predictions for all 23 categories, and we're gonna go in the order that the awards were presented last year, as dumb as they are. But nevertheless, here are my 2025 Oscar hopes and predictions. Okay, I've got my list here, so let's start with actress in a supporting role. The nominees are Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. I really enjoyed 4 out of 5 performances here. Zoe Saldana and Emilia Perez has 2 or 3 okay moments, but for the most part, that movie is just unwatchable. Isabella Rossellini is really great as Sister Agnes in Conclave. She's a very welcome Nepo baby in my books. But my winner would definitely be between Ariana Grande, Monica Barbaro, and Felicity Jones. 3 very different performances. Ariana Grande, I'm a little conflicted because she almost feels like more of a co-lead with Cynthia Erivo. I thought Monica Barbaro was fantastic in A Complete Unknown. I was hoping she or Margaret Qualley would sneak into the nominees list over Selena Gomez, so I'm very happy she's there. Felicity Jones as Elizabeth Toth in The Brutalist. She completely changes the film when she's in it in part 2. Her voiceover stuff alone in part 1 is really great, but that second half of the movie is just really fantastic with her. But the AI stuff has sort of left a strange taste in my mouth. So with that being said, my hope for the winner is very narrowly Ariana Grande over Monica Barbaro. As for who I think the Academy will pick, a month ago I would have said Zoe Saldana 100%, but given all the controversy that's happened with her co-star's tweets, I don't know, it's kind of shaken everything up. I think we'll see a similar pattern with all of Emilia Perez's nominations, so I think the best supporting actress will be Ariana Grande for Wicked. Animated short. The nominees: Beautiful Men, In the Shadow of the Cypress, Magic Candies, Wander to Wonder, and Yuck. This will be quick, I haven't seen any of these. It can be hard to find the animated shorts if you don't live in LA, New York, or you're not fully in the biz. I know they all release that once online every year, but I can't find them in Canada, so I'm just gonna fire blind and say Wander to Wonder based on all the predictions I'm seeing online. Next, we have animated feature film. I have seen all of the nominees. We have Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. This is just a really good nominee list. Inside Out 2 is pretty much just a rehash of the first film, but I still really liked it, and I even saw it twice in theaters. Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. I was really scared of these movies as a kid, but now watching it as an adult, I can recognize how hilarious they are. The Wild Robot was good, but it didn't quite stick the landing for me. Flow was a really interesting watch with a fascinating story about climate change. Even with zero dialogue and only animals, it was very engaging. However, Memoir of a Snail is my favorite. I watched it last week and I cried so hard. It was amazing. My hope for the winner is Memoir of a Snail 100%. It was the most unique to me and just packs such a punch. As for my prediction, I'm very torn between Flow and The Wild Robot. You know what? I'm going to stick with my gut and I'm going to say The Wild Robot will win Best Animated Feature Film. Alright, writing time. It is original screenplay up first. The nominees being Anora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5, and The Substance. Ignoring September 5, this is a very strong category. Anora was a really good movie, but not exceptional in my eyes. I've seen it twice, and I enjoyed it a lot both times, but it's not perfect to me. A Real Pain was hilarious, heartbreaking, but it did come in a little underbaked. The Brutalist was a fascinating movie, and even if it was 3.5 hours, it absolutely flew by. However, The Substance, one of the most original movies I have ever seen. The screenplay has racked up a bunch of awards like at Cannes, done. The movie just has so much to absorb and there's so much going on. It is a brilliant piece of work. So my hope for original screenplay is Coralie Farget's The Substance. However, my prediction is Anora by Sean Baker. Still a great pick because I do think Sean Baker wrote a really interesting story that's a unique dark fairy tale, so I'm not upset. Then of course we have adapted screenplay. The nominees being A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. A very strong category again. 4 really great options and 1 steaming pile of doo-doo. I really enjoyed A Complete Unknown, but it is super straightforward and doesn't really offer anything new. It's kind of just a fun biopic without any real twists. But Nickel Boys, Sing Sing, and Conclave, good lord, that is hard to pick from. I think Conclave is one of the most brat and diva-coded movies of 2024, but if you've seen my top 5 movies of 2024, you know how much I love Sing Sing. A really heartbreaking story that I just keep thinking about. As for Nickel Boys, I finally got to see it a couple weeks ago, and it's one of the most unique film experiences I've had. Even with a brief 15-minute period where I felt like the movie was kind of losing itself, it's still really great, and I'm so happy it's getting some nominations. My hope for the winner, I don't know, it's really hard to pick, but I kind of hope it's Conclave. It's such a unique screenplay because it kind of takes this world that has a lot of false mysticism and just makes it into a workplace comedy drama. It's funny as hell and has some really great twists. Even if it didn't rank the highest in my lists, I still really enjoyed it. For my actual predicted winner, however, I think it's also Conclave. Alright, let's move into makeup and hairstyling. For the nominees, we have A Different Man, Amelia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. Another insanely good category, but I actually think my hope and prediction are pretty simple. I loved all the prosthetic work in A Different Man and Nosferatu, but my hope and prediction go to The Substance. I mean, come on, the evolution of Lizzie Sparkle, the splitting open of her back, and of course Monstro Elizasu. Just amazing work that is worthy of an award. Next we have production design, and the nominees are The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. Sort of a crazy year for production design. I found myself lost in the worlds of films not even nominated here. Furiosa, Civil War, Alien Romulus. Production designers were killing it this year, but my hope for the winner is a very close fight between Nosferatu and Dune Part 2. However, if I have to pick one, it's Dune Part 2. As a big fan of the books, I think the Villeneuve films just do a really great job bringing the pages to life visually and tonally. Like Siege Tabra, for example, just mesmerizing work. As for who I think will actually win, I am predicting Wicked to win the Oscar for production design. Sticking with designs, we have costume design next. The nominees are A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. I actually don't care who wins this because I think all 5 movies have amazing costumes in them. My hope is kind of Gladiator 2. I think everyone just looked so cool in that movie, especially Denzel Washington. My prediction, however, I think Wicked will take production design and costume design. Okay, this is a good one. International feature film. The nominees being I'm Still Here from Brazil, The Girl with the Needle from Denmark, Amelia Perez from France, The Seed of the Sacred Fig from Germany, and Flow from Latvia. I've seen 4 out of 5 of these. The Seed of the Sacred Fig just wasn't playing anywhere near me and I couldn't find it online, but I'm gonna try and find it before the awards anyway. But I have seen the rest and I like them all except for Amelia Perez. The Girl with the Needle was very hard to watch. It made me extremely sad and quite squeamish. Flow was also somewhat sad, but it was really cute. But as for the movie that is not only my hope, but also my prediction, I'm Still Here. I saw it 2 weeks ago and I feel like it opened up a whole new chapter of history to me. I was not aware of the military dictatorship in Brazil. Little context, I have a master's in history, but we very rarely talked about South America in any of my history courses. So as soon as I finished I'm Still Here, I went home and I pretty much binged Brazilian history on YouTube. The movie itself, very moving. I loved it a lot. I rated it 4.5 stars on Letterboxd, and it was just an incredible thing to watch. So I think it's probably going to win Best International Feature. Actor in a supporting role. The nominees being Yura Borisov for Anora, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice. I'm not going to waste your time because not even kidding, this is the easiest one to predict of the night, and I'd bet my parents' house on it. Before I say my hope and prediction, I just want to say justice for Clarence Macklin. Definitely deserved to be here over Edward Norton. But anyway, my hope and the easiest prediction of this video, Kieran Culkin will win Best Supporting Actor. And honestly, deservedly so. If anyone else plays his role in A Real Pain, I think the movie is a lot less watchable. Alright, into some technical categories, starting with visual effects. The nominees being Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. These are some good nominees, but for me there's a very clear nominee that is not only my hope but my prediction. The Oscar for visual effects will 100% be Dune Part 2. I think there's revolutionary work in here and it blows the rest of the nominees out of the water. And now for film editing. The nominees being Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, and Wicked. This is a tough one and I honestly flip-flopped so many times. I mean, you have The Brutalist, which is just so fantastically put together. Then you have Conclave, a hilarious film that just honestly never stops going. Then Anora, edited like a gorgeous fairy tale for a while and then sort of like a nightmare. I think my hope is The Brutalist, but my prediction is Anora, which is still a good winner because Sean Baker uses a lot of fun montages and really long takes that ties the film together. Documentary short. The nominees are Death by Numbers, I Am Ready Warden, Incident, Instruments of a Beating Heart, and The Only Girl in the Orchestra. Haven't been able to watch a single one of these, but based on all the past award shows, I'm predicting I Think I Am Ready Warden to win. And now for documentary feature. The nominees are Black Box Diaries, No Other Land, Porcelain War, Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, and Sugarcane. I was lucky enough to see Black Box Diaries and Sugarcane recently. The rest I have not seen. Shout out to Sugarcane though, because it is a Canadian documentary that shares a very traumatic period in Indigenous history. So this may seem weird, but my hope and prediction is actually a documentary that I haven't even seen yet, and that is No Other Land. This documentary has had a pretty crazy journey distribution wise, and I think it's now being like self-financed for distribution in very limited theaters, but I hope it can win and maybe get wider distribution because it's important to see what's happening in the West Bank. Cinematography. The nominees being Lal Crawley for The Brutalist, Greg Fraser for Dune Part 2, Paul Gilheim for Emilia Perez, Ed Lachlan for Maria, and Yaron Blanche for Nosferatu. A pretty insane list, and this was very hard to pick. Nosferatu, The Brutalist, and Dune Part 2 are all in my top 5 best looking movies of 2024, but there's only one movie that I hope wins in this category. I'm gonna be a bit of a biased fanboy and say I hope Greg Fraser wins for Dune Part 2. I love all of his work, and his visuals for Dune Part 2 were just some of his best work. As for my prediction, incredibly tough. I'm stuck between Yaron Blanche for Nosferatu and Lal Crawley for The Brutalist, but I gotta go for Lal Crawley and The Brutalist, because come on, VistaVision. Okay, very quickly, live action short. The nominees being Alien, Anuha, I'm Not a Robot, The Last Ranger, and The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent. Once again, I haven't been able to watch any of these. Very hard to find, but I predict The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent will win. I've seen so much talk of it online and it just seems super popular. Now moving into sound. The nominees, A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. I'll keep it real with you. If it's not Dune Part 2, I'll riot. My hope is 10,000% Dune Part 2. Lasguns, Sandworms, Combat, The Desert, whatever it is. All sounds amazing. My prediction is also Dune Part 2, but there is a world where I see Wicked possibly taking this award. Now moving into another category that is pleasant for your ears. Original score. The nominees being The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. Good lord, what a lineup without Emilia Perez. Justice for Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, as well as Hans Zimmer. I hope Daniel Blumberg wins for The Brutalist. I particularly loved his tracks Porn and Handjob. Kidding, of course, but the Brutalist soundtrack was amazing. My prediction, however, was tough. I leaned very close to picking Conclave, but I do think The Brutalist will take it ultimately. And now it's time for Original Song, with a couple nominees that were so bad they canceled the live performances at the awards this year. The nominees are El Mal from Emilia Perez, The Journey from the 6888, Like a Bird from Sing Sing, Mi Camino from Emilia Perez, and Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late. Oh boy, all the Emilia Perez controversy just has me so confused. I think if Academy voters were okay giving Emilia Perez one award, it would probably be Original Song. My hope is Never Too Late by Elton John, just because I'm an Elton John fan. My prediction? Okay, maybe I'll give them one. I think El Mal from Emilia Perez will probably win for Original Song. But okay, enough of that nonsense. 4 left, the 4 big categories. Here we go. Actor in a leading role. The nominees being Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. I love all of these performances, and I would genuinely be happy with any of them winning. I mean, Coleman Domingo once again proving he is that guy. Adrien Brody bringing so much heartbreak to The Brutalist. Sebastian Stan making a Trump movie interesting, and honestly doing the best young Trump impression I've ever seen. Then you have Ralph Fiennes bringing unprecedented levels of diva energy to the conclave. And finally, Timmy in his dirty Bob Dylan rat era. I would love for Timothée Chalamet to win for Bob Dylan, making 5 years of hard work pay off. My prediction, however, good God, am I ever torn between Adrien Brody and Timothée Chalamet? I think voting was probably incredibly close, but the BAFTAs sort of sealed it for me. So I am predicting Adrien Brody to win Best Actor for The Brutalist. Then we have directing. The nominees are Sean Baker for Anora, Brady Corbet for The Brutalist, James Mangold for A Complete Unknown, Jacques Audiard for Amelia Perez, and Coralie Farge for The Substance. Denis Villeneuve and Luca Guadagnino both deserve nominations, so I have no clue how Jacques Audiard and James Mangold got in this category. I've watched a lot of interviews with all of these directors, and I'm really not a fan of any of them except Coralie Farge. I loved The Substance, and I love Coralie Farge, so I hope she wins Best Director. However, I do not think that will be the case. I 100% think it will be Sean Baker for Anora. He just picked up a ton of awards at the DGA, the WGA, the PGA, the TSA, whatever other acronyms. So I think the tide is very much going with him. Then our second last award of the night, Actress in a Leading Role. The nominees, Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison for Anora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. Well, I think we all know who it won't be, but I think this is actually an insanely tight 3-horse race. We have 3 unforgettable performances with Mikey Madison in Anora, Demi Moore in The Substance, and Fernanda Torres in I'm Still Here. Until the Golden Globes, I thought Mikey Madison had it in the bag. Then Demi and Fernanda both won, and it sort of just blew everything wide open. Voters are not only paying attention to the horror genre, but they are taking I'm Still Here very seriously. With all that said, I hope and I predict Demi Moore will win Best Actress in a Leading Role for The Substance. She's heartbreaking, terrifying, and hilarious as Lizzie Sparkle. I also think voters will kind of recognize this as a Lifetime Achievement Oscar as well. It could be Mikey Madison, but I think it will be Glee for Demi. But here we go. Last and most certainly not least, Best Picture. The nominees: Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. As Catherine O'Hara said, must we? Some of these movies were in my top 10 last year, and had I seen Nickel Boys and The Brutalist, they probably would have been as well. I'm bummed Madam Web and Borderlands didn't make the cut, but what can you do? Same with Red One, but I'm sure The Rock is off making another groundbreaking film. Of the films nominated, however, the film I hope wins has a snowball's chance in hell of actually winning. You can guess from my previous video, my top 5 movies of 2024, the shelf behind me, how many times I've already mentioned it in this video, but my hope for the Best Picture winner is Dune Part 2. It's not illegal to dream. My prediction, however, is not Dune Part 2. It's a movie I feel a lot of us slept on because of all the Amelia Perez noise. I am, of course, talking about Anora, this year's Best Picture winner. It's won pretty much everything for the last 3 weeks at the WGA, the DGA, and all that stuff sort of sealed it for me, so I think it's going to be this year's Best Picture winner. Oh, wow, that was a lot. A lot of talking, a lot of contemplating, a lot of flip-flopping, but most importantly, a lot of fun. Look, even if this has been the most confusing and uncomfortable Oscar season in a while, I'm still very excited for the ceremony. One of my favorite people in the world, Conan O'Brien, is hosting, and I think he's going to nail it in what can be a very tough room. It was hard making these picks, and I honestly changed my decisions multiple times, but if you enjoyed me sharing my hopes and predictions, you can enjoy more of me talking on my weekly podcast, Watcher of All Things. It's my weekly show where I talk movies, TV shows, and all things entertainment, with new episodes dropping every Monday. You can find it on all of your streaming platforms or right here on my YouTube channel. So this has been my 2025 Oscar hopes and predictions. Don't forget to comment your hopes and predictions. I want to hear from you. Where are we the same? Where do we differ? Also, make sure you're hitting the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell so you know whenever there's a new video or podcast episode. But for now, happy Oscar season, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.